Okay, let's unpack this. Today we're diving into Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. It's really a profound piece of work, explores resilience, purpose, and just the incredible human spirit.
Absolutely seminal. It really stays with you.
It does, and it's structured, well, kind of in two parts, isn't it? First, you have his own experiences, his harrowing accounts from the Nazi concentration
Right,
camps,
the raw personal testimony,
and then flowing from that, the development of his psychological theory, logotherapy.
which came directly out of those experiences in many ways.
Exactly. So our mission today really is to dig into those core insights, the aha moments about finding meaning, even when things seem completely hopeless, and maybe see how that connects to, well, to you, to your daily life.
It has surprising relevance, I think.
So let's start with the first part, the unimaginable crucible, his time in the camps. Can you maybe set the scene? I mean, the arrest, the transport to places like Auschwitz, the sheer shock of it all.
Yeah, it's difficult to fully grasp. Frankl describes this initial phase, the shock upon arrival. Prisoners were stripped of everything, their possessions, their clothes, their names, their identities, essentially, just reduced to a number.
That complete dehumanization.
Exactly. And alongside that, constant fear, gnawing, hunger, total exhaustion. It was, as you said, a profound disorientation, a loss of bearings.
And Frankl, being a psychiatrist in the camp, he observed the psychological effects firsthand. You mentioned phases.
Yes, he noticed a pattern. He outlined 3 broad psychological phases for inmates. First, that initial shock we talked about, characterized by numbness, a kind of disbelief, almost feeling like it wasn't real.
Defense mechanism, I suppose?
Very much so. Then, if they survived the initial period, came the second phase, apathy. This was a deepening indifference, a necessary blunting of emotions to just endure the day-to-day horror and deprivation. It was a psychological adaptation for survival.
So not weakness, but a kind of emotional hibernation.
Precisely. And the third phase involved the reactions after liberation, which was complex in its own right. Disillusionment, bitterness, the struggle to reconnect.
It's staggering. But amidst all that, Frankl also saw incredible resilience, didn't he? How did some manage to keep their will to live?
That's the core of his observation, really. He saw that a future orientation was critical, having something to live for.
A goal, a hope.
Yes, even a small one. He gave examples like prisoners finding tiny joys, maybe a sunset through the barracks window, or a moment of shared dark humor. Using imagination was key, too. He himself, he writes about imagining giving lectures on the psychology of the concentration camp after he was free.
Wow. Projecting himself beyond the wire.
Or holding on to memories of loved ones, focusing on that reunion, and crucially, he observed that suffering itself could be given meaning if it was endured with dignity.
That feels like a pivotal idea.
It is. This is Frankl's central point. Even when everything external is taken away, freedom, health, possessions, dignity, one freedom remains.
Which is?
The freedom to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. To choose one's own way.
That internal freedom. It's incredibly powerful.
What's fascinating here is how even when everything external is stripped away, this internal freedom remains. It's the last human freedom, as he put it.
And that powerful idea, that internal freedom, that naturally leads us into logotherapy, right?
Yeah.
The second part of the book.
Exactly. It's the theoretical framework built on that foundational insight from the camps.
So logotherapy, explain it a bit. How does it differ from, say, Freudian psychoanalysis, which was dominant then? Freud focused on the will to pleasure.
Right, and Alfred Adler focused on the will to power. Frankl proposed something different. Logotherapy is a form of existential analysis.
Meaning
It deals with the big questions of existence, meaning freedom, responsibility. And its core principle is that our primary drive in life isn't pleasure or power, but the will to meaning. We are fundamentally beings searching for a purpose.
So life always has meaning, according to Frankl, even amidst terrible suffering.
He argued, yes, unconditionally. Life never ceases to have meaning. The meaning might change, the way you find it might change, but it's always there to be discovered. And therapy's goal, then, isn't just to fix symptoms, but to help patients find their unique purpose.
Okay, so how do we find this meaning? He laid out 3 main paths, I believe.
That's right. He made it quite concrete. 3 primary avenues. First, through work or creating something. Doing deeds, making a contribution, your unique mark on the world.
Okay, creative works, got it.
Second, through experiencing something or encountering someone. This could be appreciating beauty, nature, art, or, crucially, through love. deep connection.
Experiential values. Makes sense.
And the third, perhaps the most profound given his background, is through the attitude we take toward unavoidable suffering.
Attitudinal values. Choosing how we face what we cannot change.
Exactly. If you can't change a situation, you are challenged to change yourself, specifically your attitude towards it. This is where suffering can be transformed into a human achievement.
So even in the worst tragedy, meaning isn't lost, it just needs to be found in a different way.
Precisely. Life is constantly asking us questions, and our answers lie in how we respond, how we live out our responsibilities.
Now, Frankl also talked about something he called the existential vacuum. Sounds pretty relevant today. What is that?
It does sound relevant, doesn't it? He saw it as a common issue, particularly in modern, affluent societies. It's a feeling of, emptiness, boredom, a sense that life lacks meaning.
That sort of, is this all there is feeling?
Exactly, a deep-seated meaninglessness. And he linked this vacuum to various problems: depression, anxiety, addiction, aggression, people trying to fill the void, essentially.
And logotherapy is the antidote.
It aims to be, by helping people become aware of their unique responsibilities and the potential meanings waiting to be fulfilled. Logotherapy helps them find something concrete to live for, filling that vacuum authentically.
It connects back to that idea of responsibility, doesn't it? Taking ownership of finding your meaning.
Absolutely. Frankl emphasized responsibility heavily. He framed it almost as life asking something of you, meaning isn't just something you ponder, it's something you do, something you answer for.
And it's unique to each person, each situation. No single answer fits all.
Precisely. Your meaning is yours alone to discover and fulfill. It requires taking responsibility for your choices and actions.
Let's circle back to suffering for a moment. We touched on choosing our attitude, but how does that actually work? How does attitude transform suffering into something meaningful?
Well, think back to his camp examples. When faced with unavoidable hardship, starvation, illness, brutality, the choice wasn't whether to suffer, but how. Some chose bitterness, despair. Others chose to maintain their inner dignity, perhaps by helping another prisoner, sharing their last piece of bread, holding on to hope.
Finding purpose even there.
Yes. By choosing an attitude of courage, dignity, or altruism, they turned their suffering into, in Frankl's words, an inner achievement. It gave their survival or even their death a profound meaning.
So it's not about liking the suffering, obviously.
Not at all. It's about finding meaning despite it, or even through the way you bear it. It raises that challenging question for all of us about how we frame our own unavoidable difficulties.
And logotherapy uses these ideas in practice. How does it look in a therapy session, helping someone, say, with trauma or just feeling lost?
It's quite practical. A therapist might use Socratic dialogue to help a person explore potential sources of meaning in their life. They might look at past experiences where they felt purposeful, or identify responsibilities to family, work, a cause that they could engage with more deeply. Case studies show people finding new purpose after trauma, perhaps by helping others who've been through similar things, or finding meaning in managing a chronic illness with courage.
So it guides them to see the possibilities for meaning that are already there, just maybe overlooked.
Exactly. It shifts the focus from, why is this happening to me, to, what is life asking of me now, even in this situation?
Which links to another key Frankl concept, self-transcendence. Sounds a bit countercultural today, maybe.
It can seem that way in a world often focused on self-actualization for its own sake. But for Frankl, self-transcendence was essential for meaning. It means looking beyond yourself, finding meaning by dedicating yourself to a cause greater than yourself, or to loving another person.
So meaning isn't found by looking inward necessarily.
Not solely. Introspection has its place, but meaning, he argued, is found out there in the world, in relationships and tasks that need doing. Happiness, he believed, isn't pursued directly. It ensues as a byproduct of finding meaning and purpose beyond oneself.
Interesting. So the more you forget yourself and serving something else, the more human you become.
That's a great way to put it. It's about reaching out, connecting, contributing.
So wrapping this up, if we had to distill the core message from Frankl, what does this all mean for you listening right now? I think it's that powerful idea that the search for meaning isn't just one drive among others. It's the primary human motivation.
Absolutely. That's the heart of it.
And that even when things are incredibly difficult, unimaginably hard, we still possess that ultimate freedom.
That freedom to choose our response, our attitude. It can't be taken away.
It's a profound source of strength, really.
It is. And maybe a final thought to leave with everyone. Considering Frankl's insight, born from the most extreme circumstances, that we always have this freedom to choose our attitude. How might you, right now, Redefine an unavoidable suffering or challenge in your own life. What attitude could you choose towards it that might transform it into something meaningful for you?
That's a powerful question to reflect on. Thank you for this incredibly insightful discussion.
Thank you. Frankl's work always offers so much to think about.
It certainly does. We hope this deep dive has given you some valuable food for thought. Thanks for joining us.